So this is the 11:29 Volta adapter call. Light agenda today. We have 2 more days in Sprint 3, a number of open items, mostly around the device management for the EdgeCore OLT. Ranjit, I see you're on. Has there been any progress in gaining remote access to hardware?
Hi team, actually we have not received any much progress on this. Actually David is looking into it. Last time he has created account names actually for the email IDs and all, but still we are waiting for the VPN access.
Hello, this is Shad from ONF. Sean had asked us if we can provide access to one of the EdgeCore OLTs in our labs, and I guess we can have one EdgeCore OLT available from end of next week. So if that timeline works, then that after end after end of next week is when we can make one EdgeCore OLT available over a VPN. So I think there was a separate email thread with Sean on this. I don't know, Ranjit, if you were on that, but yeah, we indicated to him about this.
Right. I think Dave Bembridge was also in that call because Sienna was the one who knows about whom to contact in CalSoft, right? So, Shad, do you think it will be recommended to have them at least work on the connectivity right now with Luca? So when the OLT become available, then they can do the testing without setting up delays.
Yeah, I guess that's a good idea. So we'll get Luca started on this from our side, and Luca can get in touch with David. He's there on that email thread, and I'll remind him today to look into this. Start looking at it.
So who's on the CalSoft side will be the main contact?
I will be the main contact, Sean.
Is that Ranjit?
Yeah, Ranjit.
Okay.
Shad, when would the OLT be available after the end of next week?
Yes, I believe it's freeing up sometime mid next week. We have engineer from NTT working for a couple of weeks over here, and he's doing some work on that using that EdgeCore OLT. So he goes back to Japan sometime mid next week. I don't know, I don't remember right now. That's why I'm saying that it's definitely by end of next week that will free up. I think sometime next week he leaves.
Shad, if I bring my EdgeCore over, would that help?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, we can rack it up. We always have a problem of there's a heat problem in our lab, but let me just confirm that with Luca. We just before Thanksgiving shut down some servers because the lab was heating up. But I'm sure that because this is an urgent thing, we can work something out. So let me again discuss that with Luca, and the same we can talk about that.
Yeah. So Shad, I think I need to bring up so I got the new EdgeCore from the Acton, right? So if that works next week, then I can put it over, and at the same time, we can set it up too. So I think that will be a good alternative.
Okay. Do you need OLT optics or other optics in the box to validate the?
I do. Yes.
Okay. And do you have those?
I don't. So the optics always seems to be confusing part for me. I'll reach out to you guys, see whether we can borrow.
Okay, but that actually was a question more to Randith, if optics are needed for validation of some of the work that you've done.
We'll be needing one hardware with the BAL server activated actually.
But you don't need the ONT connected, right? You only need the box.
We don't need ONU connected. Yeah, we need only VOLT device.
And you don't need the OLT optics module in the box to validate that you can control and manage those optical modules, or would that be needed?
Yes.
I think probably it will be wise to provide it.
It would be. I'm wondering if you can validate VOL 348 without having the optic module present. So let's plan on one being there.
Yeah. And Shad, how many optics right now you guys have it over there working?
So yeah, we have 3 OLT optics with us right now. One a loaner from Radisys, and we received 2 from we received 2 OLT optics from, I think, Source Photonics. So we have 3.
Okay.
I think OLT optics is okay. It's the ONUs that I think we may need to think about. So we have two ONUs with us. The third one, Sean. So yeah, the one from Broadcom, it came back upgraded. So that's I mean, you're going to have that. So we have 2 ONUs.
Okay.
And we need these 2 ONUs in our testing. So we can't. I mean, it'll be difficult for us to spare those to the other. Yeah.
So it sounds like they don't need the ONUs, just the OLT optics.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like you're okay.
Yeah. So we have the OLT optics for the, you know, if we bring in a third H core OLT, I think we are good for that.
Yeah, I can do that next week. Yeah.
Okay.
So, do we have anybody from? Is Dave Bainbridge? Oh, I think they Sienna also said they have opened the VPN. But Ranjesh, have you heard anything from Sienna at all, or?
Sian actually, like in today, David has mailed us like in just email IDs, so not about the VPN access. Actually, still we are waiting for the VPN access mails. Okay,
so I think we should do in parallel. So at the same time, working on with the Sienna. If you get that working, let us know. But in the meantime, Shad, if you can talk to Luca, and then they can set up the VPN connectivity test. I think that will work, and I'll collaborate with you and bring my OOT over.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
But the code all have been submitted, and then people can review it, or just in case people are curious about it. Is that?
Yeah. Actually, like once we have like in one more round of testing, so we can ready to submit for the review.
So it has not been submitted yet, but the plan would be to submit it, make it available as soon as you have done the testing?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want the code to be shared? I think that doesn't really mean anything. I'm just asking. It's Kim. Kim is on right now, right? So,
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Yeah, my recommendation would be, yeah, I just caught the tail of that conversation, but my recommendation would be maybe to, to push it up to Garrett for, for reviews. Just, even if it hasn't been tested and it will just be noted, we won't, there won't be an attempt to merge it or anything until, it's been actually looked at. But that's just my opinion. I think it should be captured, and then so other people can look at it and anticipate any changes that might be needed. So I know I have some interest in how certain things are done. So, as far as the integration phase. So my recommendation would be to get it up there so we don't, lose any time. My opinion.
Yeah. I kind of like that too. Rajesh?
Yeah.
Is it possible to put the code on the GitHub? Do you need any help?
So you want me to put it on the GitHub before testing?
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, that would be the recommendation. You can go ahead and upload reviews, but we will, we'll the people look at just more as when they're marked with these these particular JIRAs, we'll be careful about the timing of the merge. In fact, you can I would recommend that they just sit in there for they just are holding in review state, and then if you have any further updates after the testing, you can just amend the reviews, or we can cancel them and do new ones. So, but we'll delay. I think it's a good thing. Get the code up into Garrett so it's captured. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That is okay. No problem. Maybe we'll be keep on the GitHub tomorrow maybe sometime. So except 348 we can keep rest of the things. 348 still there is some coding pending because of the hardware. So.
Yeah, I expect you will have to do two submits. You'll have to submit one to VOLTHA, to the VOLTHA repo to capture the adapter changes, that you have, and then the other changes that are on the OLT side, those that go in the ASF Volt 16 driver repo. I think I sent you that information earlier, but I'll re-update it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll be doing that. But these stories, so now, in sprint 3 is close to on December 1st, right? So maybe can be moved to sprint 4 then?
Yes, we'll have to move these to sprint 4, but so I'll take care of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good progress. Anything else? So what I heard was Vol 348 will not be pushed immediately because there is code pending access to hardware, but the other stories, the code for the other stories will be pushed tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, so I think that covers all of the stories that are in the current sprint in progress. There's some other stories related to ONOS. Any updates? I think we covered those yesterday, didn't we? 535. Is up for review. 566 is pending. 535. and 567 is also pending 535.
So 535, who is supposed to review it? Sorry.
I think we discussed this one yesterday where Amit put the code up. It looks like...
Hi, this is Amit.
Hey, Amit.
Yeah, I think it would mostly be David.
Okay, and he's aware that we're waiting for his review?
Yes, but I think the automatic notifications from Jira is not working, right? So
Right.
I tried to tag him in the Jira comments so that he gets a notification. Hopefully that works.
Great. Okay. So I don't see a comment, a recent comment in 535, but you did so in 566 and 567. Tagged him in a comment. Yeah, I see that. Okay,
yeah.
Great. All right. We'll follow up with David. Make sure that I'll also tag him, just ping him to make sure he's got that review on his calendar and can complete that so we can get those merged by the end of the sprint.
Yep.
Okay. That is it in sprint 3. Any other questions, issues on sprint 3? So looking ahead at sprint 4, the adapter-related issue in there is the integration 553. Kim, you entered that story, but it's unassigned. How should we do this test integration for the device management changes? Is that something that could be done in parallel, one at ONF and elsewhere, for instance, at Radisys?
Yeah, that task is going to have a dependency on, the code that CalSoft is pushing up there. It has to be.
Of course, it has to be complete first, but yeah,
pretty much code complete, and then, basically presuming everything builds, and then this story was about actually running the device. So seeing it all work together. So
Kim, you dropped off for me for a second. I think I got the point.
Yeah. So that was intended for testing of the whole OLT as a system, and make sure that I know on the Radisys side we use this thing constantly. So we'll have opportunity to bring that into some of our testing as we as the timing works out. Okay, but it seems like we should probably have some other parallel testing that somebody else should sign up as well. So we have an independent check that it can work as the community, because I know experience when the first BAL driver and stuff came out, people ran into some issues either building it or seeing it all go together right, or whatever. We have to make sure the documentation and stuff gets in place for that.
So that 553 it'd be beneficial to have multiple parties testing that. So Radisys will test that. Is it possible that someone else on this call could pick that up as well? Do some validation, end-to-end validation of these the device management work.
I'll ask Atran.
Okay, that'd be great.
And then Nokia also.
Great.
VOLTHA 553, 553.
553, yes. All right.
Yeah, I think that I know some of the work has been working on the other carrier side, so it's good if the code is published. So again, let's get that code up.
Agreed. So yes, the code. Most of the code will go up tomorrow for Ranjit's earlier commitment, and then 348 as soon as they have access. So I would expect that sometime during middle of Sprint 4.
So
be up for
so 553. That should I guess that doesn't doesn't mean anything until the testing from Calsoft is complete, right? Or can that be done simultaneously?
Well, that sort of needs to go into two steps. I mean, Calsoft needs to integrate it as well as they can to make sure that the components are in there. From what I've heard, I don't think they have the ability to do any traffic test or end-to-end validation on the data path side, on the BAL side. So I think I put that into the JIRA. I will update it if not, but there should at least be enough like developer integration, I would call it, that it's all there, it all builds, everything starts up, right? And then they can at least test the device management side to make sure that the functions that are supposed to be there are still there. And then this story to be completed off means that it has to be validated by some others, like, we mentioned Radisys will do best effort, and Adtran and Nokia can all do their best effort, testing with that, and then we can sign that 553 off when we think it's ready to market as complete. So it'll be pretty obvious, if it's done, as everything needs to be in there and still working and functional.
Okay.
Has the wiki been updated, or documentation around how to get access to the device information through some management interface?
There was in the top JIRA, one of those earlier JIRAs, all the design docs and concept documents got put into a JIRA, but there is no backing code for it yet, so we can't see if there's any deficiencies or gaps, until that gets up. And there are gaps. There were identified gaps that were missing. Like there will be functionality that's available through this interface that VOLTHA can't get at right yet. Like, for example, I don't know if I can think of an example right now, but at least bringing things up like, environment alarms and stuff like that would show, and those can be pushed to the Kafka bus just like, any other type of alarm. But, for an actual functional control interface, I mean, that needs to be, a little higher in the adapter interface needs to provide some way to come down in there and access things. If you can see what I mean, there's a get. So we built from the bottom up to a little ways, and so VOLTHA can get those things. And I don't know how extensive any of this device control is in any other adapters. I have a feeling that existing adapters for legacy type equipment are still using local CLIs and things like that to go in and do special things. Like if you want to do check environment, check fans or something like that, there's alternate ways to do it in equipment. But in this white box OLT, the interface was intended to come through the VOLTHA adapter itself, and then we'll see. So that's
Okay, there's nothing that sits. There's nothing that sits on top of that in terms of giving access to that information via a CLI or anything else, right?
Correct. At this moment, and Ranjit and I had, some talks about that. We're going to have to build it up to the level. There might just be some debug things to be able to trigger some things off by some mechanisms, but there's not like a full design of a device management, support. So this epic was that I believe it was Vol 248 epic was adding device management capabilities in the Edge Core OLT. It was not adding the whole device management framework into VOLTA itself.
So I guess so. Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess from the operator's perspective, I guess they have no visibility unless it's an alarm that gets generated, right?
Right, it's an alarm, right? And what the VOLTA concept is vendor agnostic management interface, right? And so VOLTA doesn't have, it's just like it didn't have XPON before we put XPON in it. It doesn't have OLT device management that goes through a vendor agnostic interface, right? So that stuff, you can do anything you want in the adapters, and this whole work was around defining what needs to be in there. So between the device and the adapter, we can get information we know VOLTA is going to ultimately need. But your point is good, Sean, is all right, how do you get through that? There's got to be like a REST interface designed, for VOLTA or something like that for, device management to do, basically have a specification of all the things that need to be managed for a particular type of OLT, whether it's XGS PON or GPON or whatever. There will probably be variants of that part still needs to come into VOLTA, which is how does an operator use it or interface to it.
Yeah, and that's what the ONAP integration and Awesome is going to be about, right? So I sent out an email to various people regarding to the ONAP and Awesome integration kickoff at the ONAP meeting the week of December 11th. So it has some component within that.
Yeah, and there's probably a object control definition or something like that in that concept of what needs to be managed. So VOLTA just needs to hook to that, and then the adapter interface needs to have extensions put into it to be able to integrate to the device management component in VOLTA.
Yeah, that's part of the access manager functionality. Yeah. Again, that ONAP meeting is free for registration, so I strongly encourage people to attend. California.
What's the date of that?
Julie, do you remember? 12th through 14th.
12th through the 14th of December.
Yep.
Okay. We'll note that as well.
The ONAP.org saying that's the planning for the Beijing release, but the Blaine and Munir was invited to kick off the ONAP integration with Awesome project there.
Got it. Okay. Anything else? I think that's everything I intended to cover on today's call.
Hey, this is Shad. I have sort of a question, maybe some feedback from others. So we were doing some testing in our lab and there's one use case where we reboot the ONU. I mean, let's say the ONU is authenticated and traffic is flowing, and then you reboot the ONU. And basically what happens is that when the ONU comes back up, traffic is not restored. And the ONU has to do basically the RG has to, behind the ONU has to do a reauthentication for traffic to be established. So I'm not familiar with the real world situations, but is this something that that usually happens in the real world, where if a ONU is rebooted, it's something behind? I mean, the RG has to reauthenticate once again. And how would the RG know that the ONU has rebooted? So just looking for some feedback as to if you guys know about this thing.
Right. I think when sorry, go ahead.
Sean, I was going to say that, in a real world situation, the ONU and RG would be, one and the same piece of equipment, right? So when the thing goes down, it goes down together, and all this stuff we see between what we currently have for the ONU and an external RG is, that's not really a real world kind of a setup. So it would be like the ONU goes away, right?
No, I'm not too sure about that, because I've seen some real case scenarios where they are. I mean, ONU is a purely a ONU, and there's RG parts behind that.
The two-box solution is a valid solution, and we have to support both one-box and two-box solutions.
Usually when the uni of the ONU, so the connectivity on the I can never remember this. The Ethernet cable is disconnected, or lose of signal, something like that. Yeah, and then when they come back, the RG will re-authenticate.
Yeah, so it would take more of an integration of exactly that type of model. So the model with where the ONU is one unit with integrated RG, and then separately. So those are probably the two different types of cases, obviously, that need to be dealt with. So
Sean, did I hear you say that in the case of a ONU uni going down and then coming back up, that the RG re-authenticating would be automatic, and so it would automatically then re-authenticate, and that would be normal behavior.
Yep.
Sean, but even in the case, say the ONU doesn't reboot, but there's a fiber pull on the ONU, the fiber pull interface, GPON interface.
Correct. That will not trigger the RG doesn't know, right? RG doesn't know the fiber is cut. The RG only know the fiber is removed. The RG only know the broadband link, right? The Ethernet connect to the ONU. I think that's the trigger mechanism for the RG, the EA port reset.
Sorry, I didn't catch you. So if there's a fiber cut, how would the RG know about that? Is there some mechanism by which the ONU notifies it? Because the Ethernet link is still up.
Yes. So if the RG, if the PON fiber is removed, then RG will not trigger a EA port reset.
Yeah. So right now in our edge core, in our implementation right now, we don't handle that. So if we do a fiber pull, and I put the fiber back in again, I have to do a re-authentication from the RG. So is this something that we want to just track and open up a Jira for this? Or we that was, I was wondering whether do we need to handle this case. Basically I pull a fiber on the ONU, and then I put the fiber back again. Traffic is not restored. So a reauth has to be done from the RG, and even so So
right. So the traffic. Okay. If the arch because the thing is when the let's say you pull the fiber, right, and then you reconnect the fiber, the traffic should go through without the EA pole, right, without the radius reauthentication.
okay.
So the radius reauthentication is initiated by the RG, and RG only know about that through the uni port of the ONU is disconnected. Yeah, so it is expected when the fiber connected back, the traffic should come back.
Okay, so I can confirm that that's not happening. So I guess I'll just open up a Jira and put down this scenario over there.
Yeah. Hi, this is Amit. Yeah, so Sean, the exact thing that you described, that is what we tested in the Austin lab, and that works. So Shad agreed that the flows won't be present, but the flows that have been already provisioned at the OLT, they will remain. And once the fiber is plugged back, authentication won't succeed, but the existing IP traffic would still go through.
Sorry, Amit.
Okay, Shad. I think what. Okay, sorry. I'll verify that in the lab right now. So and then we'll provide the back. But
yeah, I can say that just yesterday in other testing, I verified a cable pull. Once when data was flowing, like had a traffic test running, and you pull the fiber, it goes down. The traffic will stop. You reconnect the fiber. The existing traffic keeps flowing, just like Amit said, and there was no reauthentication that was triggered or anything. So if it was already there, if we see that behavior, I can confirm that, Sean, and you could try it yourself to see if it does the same thing. But so I'm agreeing with Amit. I saw that exact behavior with the current stuff right now. There was no reauthentication. It was just that this flow started back up as soon as the pawn reestablished the connection.
Okay, let me. I'll go back and again I think verify. In the reboot ONU case, I'm pretty certain that traffic wasn't restored.
Well, that may be correct. Amit, would you agree on that one? If the ONU reboots, it won't.
Because when you reboot
that's
the
correct.
ONU,
because when
you reboot the ONU, the RG link is down, right? So the RG sees the links down, then so it will definitely issue the EAPO.
No, sorry, Sean. But when you reboot the ONU, the RG does not see the link down. For the RG to see the link down, we have to plug out the RJ45 cable from
and
the RG. Else it doesn't see that the uni is down. Even though you power down the power cycle, the
power cycle, the ONU,
the reason why it doesn't work. No, it doesn't go down. Or at the RG side, it doesn't.
No. What I'm saying the broadband side of the RG, the broadband side. When the broadband side of RG will go down when the ONU reboot, right?
No, that doesn't happen.
Right,
Does
and
it?
I think it's a function of how the firmware works in the ONU. If it takes does like a reboot without doing a power off, the firmware sequence has to be sure that it toggles those, any of those uni ports to drop the links and let them come back up again. So, and that firmware, if we're talking about the Broadcom ONU, it might not actually do that. So, but that's what it'll take. So I agree. I think I see the same type of behavior. If you just say reboot of the ONU, it might not drop those uni links. They tend to stay up.
Have we seen this with other ONUs? We haven't tested yet. Chad, have you?
I can't.
Is this all with a Broadcom ONU or a different ONU?
This is all with the Broadcom ONU.
Okay, so we should see if once we're able, we should see if this happens with a different ONU the Uniports on a different ONU.
And I'll take the lab here will take action item, just list all the scenarios.
Yes, Shad. So Shad, what I was trying to explain is in the reboot case, why it wouldn't work is because the difference between a PON disconnection and the reboot is that because the ONE is rebooted, it has lost all the information, right? And when it comes back up, only the EA-POL flow is pushed down. So over OMCI, only the EA-POL flow is configured, but the rest of the HSIA flows are not. And that's why it won't handle traffic unless the EA-POL actually comes in.
Right. Yeah. I thought of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are these
so
these scenarios documented? So we're having a great verbal conversation, but this question will come up again. Where are these cases documented so we could clearly point someone to the explanation of this, so we don't have to have this discussion, a verbal discussion, the next time this comes up?
That's why I'm saying I'm going to. I would at least we can capture what the D1 scenario is about, how the AT&T RG function under that scenario.
Right.
It may be different for the for the other European carrier if they use PPPoE related stuff. So we will provide a detailed use case regarding to the AT&T's radius authentication. How's that?
Great.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Another point I would another point I just wanted to bring out was that as of today, the authentication is always RG initiated. So if we had network initiated authentication, then this problem could have been solved. So if the ONOS app, the AAA app is enhanced to have network initiated authentication, then this problem can be overcome.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Amit. So yeah, That's all. That's all. I mean, I think I had. That's regarding the question.
Okay. Great. Any other topics? Very good. All right. Let's conclude today's call. I'll post the minutes and recording later today. Thank you, everyone.